everybody, I hope the audio is okay. I am wearing my little mic. I am outside at a local park filming this, so please forgive me in advance if the audio is not the best. So I just wanted to make a short video to give you guys who are interested in women's health and menstruation and hysterectomies, those of you who follow me for that kind of content, I just wanted to give you a quick update on my progress. So it has been 1 week exactly since I had my partial hysterectomy surgery. So I'll link down below the other videos where I talked about my reasons why I was going to have the surgery, and even link some of my older videos where I gave you guys all of the tips and herbs and things that I was using to help me deal with the extreme menstrual pain and very, very, very extreme menstrual bleeding that I had been experiencing. But just to quickly recap, if you're new, hi, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. But just as a quick recap, in case this is the first video of mine that you're watching, over the past several years, I have been experiencing very severe menstrual bleeding and also very bad pain, but the bleeding was really the part that was seriously making my quality of life very poor. And the experience of the bleeding just continued to get worse and worse and worse until early of December 2023, I had a very, very extreme bleeding episode that left me becoming anemic basically in 3 days, and just gave me all kinds of crazy symptoms that were very, very horrible to deal with, and there was no end in sight. So if you're wondering why I decided to have the hysterectomy surgery, again, I will link the video down below where I go into more in-depth detail. But the short of it is that my symptoms continue to progressively get worse, and it was very difficult to constantly manage the symptoms, whether I was bleeding or not. And it was also expensive to keep up with all of the herbal remedies I was trying, and things were still continuing to go downhill as far as like my symptoms getting worse. So that is why I decided to have the hysterectomy surgery. And now I am 1 week out. So I had my surgery on Monday morning, April 24th of 2023. And really things have gone really well. I am currently writing a short book that will be part my experience, part checklist and workbook, I guess you can call it, to help other people with going through with getting a hysterectomy. So everything that you'll need to know before the surgery, things that you will need to know to help you prepare your body with getting through the surgery, and everything that I've learned with helping your body recover after the surgery. So I'm currently working on that while I have time off, and that should be available for you guys within hopefully the next month. I started it before I had the surgery, so I'm kind of writing it as I'm going along to make sure that I'm giving the best information that I can, but that'll also be available very soon. So check the description box if you're watching this maybe in June 2023 or so, or you can go to my website, sign up for my newsletter. I will announce it on the newsletter. But to give you a quick update about how I'm feeling, I am feeling great. It has only been 7 days since I had the surgery. When I went in for surgery, I was actually bleeding quite a bit the morning that I went in for surgery. And I was very concerned. I'm like, you guys, can I still have the surgery if I'm actively bleeding and in pain and stuff. And my bleeding was actually not the worst that I've had, but it was actually pretty heavy the day that I went in for surgery. And they were still able to help me. So that was a question. I didn't know what questions were like common sense or not. I had no idea. But that was a question that I had. Can I still have the surgery if I'm actively bleeding? And the answer is yes. They were able to help me. The day, and I'll make a longer video to walk through more information about it, but this is just a quick update. The day of the surgery, I went to the hospital, had the surgery. They got me all prepped and everything. I actually don't remember anything after they gave me a relaxation cocktail. Like, it was lights out. I don't remember going to the OR. I don't remember anything. And the anesthesia did affect me a little negatively. So I had a very common experience of some nausea after I woke up. The anesthesia also kept me asleep for a very long time, like 4 hours. And when it was time for me to go home, I was still so sleepy. And I threw up at the hospital, and I had to have the catheter because the anesthesia just had a control over my body, and I was not able to urinate. And that is there are 2 stipulations for being released after your hysterectomy. You have to be able to urinate, and you have to be able to be mobile by yourself. So I was able to walk to the bathroom, but I was not able to pee because the anesthesia was still very much had all of my muscles and stuff, very relaxed. So they gave me a catheter and emptied my bladder. And another question that I had was about the catheter. I was so afraid to have a catheter. It was not a big deal. I barely even felt it. It's just, I'll let you Google what it is. I won't ruin your day in case you don't know what placing a catheter is. But just know that it was not even that uncomfortable. It was a little uncomfortable, but wasn't even that big of a deal. And I was freaking out about it, but it wasn't that big of a deal. So they emptied my bladder through the catheter, and then I was able to go home. And I really just slept. When I got home, I did throw up again. But immediately after I threw up, it was literally whoop, and then I felt better. It was nuts. It was like my body was purging the excess anesthesia. So that was an experience. So, you may expect to throw up if you're a little sensitive to anesthesia, and you may need to have the catheter. But let me tell you guys, if you're not sitting down watching this, sit down right now. Let me tell you how very I would throw up twice every day for several weeks to be able to feel as good as I feel now. It's 100% worth it. Don't let vomiting and a catheter experience deter you from having the surgery if if it's the right choice for you. I can't tell you what the right choice is for you, but I feel so much better. I think that it's unfortunate that I didn't take a lot of pictures back in December, January, February, March, April. I haven't really taken a lot of pictures because I was very self-conscious about how I looked, but all of the symptoms that I had related to bleeding so much, I started to take iron to prepare my body for the surgery. And the iron replenishment and stopping the bleeding is kind of like you have a cup, but there's still a hole in the bottom of the cup. So you're filling it, and the cup isn't empty, but you're still losing whatever's in your cup. That is what I was going through. Now that I've had several weeks of the iron supplements and the source of my bleeding has been surgically removed, I already feel so much better. right now, the main symptom that I have is a little bit of soreness. As you can probably imagine, I had laparoscopic surgery, and that is when they take these little like tubes and like they poke you wherever they need to in your belly to use the robot to perform the surgery. And in the areas where I have incisions, I have 5. So in the areas where I have the incisions, especially the one that's like right above, I guess what would be called like right where my pubic hairs start. So there's an incision there right where my pubic hairs start. And that one is the most uncomfortable and it's the biggest one. But it is nothing compared to the bleeding and the exhaustion and the pain that I have been experiencing for years. It is absolutely nothing. I took the pain medication the way that the doctor told me to take it for the first like 3 or 4 days. And then for the past about 3 days, I have been weaning myself off to see where my pain levels were without, the medication intervention. So today I have not had any pain medication, and I had 2 types of medication. I had ibuprofen, 600 milligrams, and I had hydrocodone, whatever it is. And I only have taken 2 hydrocodone. I took those like the first day after surgery. But after that, my pain has been completely 100% controlled by the ibuprofen. I have not had to take any medicine like outside of the ibuprofen. And I have been 100% not in pain. Today, like I said, yesterday, and the day before, I've been taking less. So yesterday and the day before, I only took 1 of the 600 milligram ibuprofen, and I was totally fine. And today I have not taken any ibuprofen, and I am fine. I have a little soreness especially when I sit down. Sitting is a little, I think there's an ant on me, y'all. Sitting is a little like not the most comfortable, kind of depending on the angle. So I've been just alternating what I'm doing, so I'm not sitting like too much. And other than that, I feel great. The thing that I see, though, that kind of aggravates the pain or the discomfort, I can't even really call it pain. If you've been dealing with these menstrual cramps and all of this crazy stuff for years, when you have this surgery, you are probably going to be like, oh, this is nothing. This is like a paper cut compared to what I've been going through. So, but I was saying that I think driving. So take your time with driving. Starting back to drive, especially if you live in a busy city. I live in Houston, and the drivers are crazy, so it's very active to drive in Houston. So if you live in a busy city where driving is kind of like a contact sport almost, then you might want to take your time with starting back with driving. Driving seems to aggravate my discomfort a little bit more than anything else, but definitely the first day you'll be able to get up and walk. You should be able to get up and walk. You should be able to just, move around a little bit. As the anesthesia starts to wear off, you'll start to feel better. And I hope that every person watching this has the same experience as me, because you're not going to believe this. This is crazy to me. After the surgery, I have not had any bleeding. It's normal to have a little bit. So if you have the surgery and you have a little bit, or you have, whatever your doctor describes to you as normal, then that's okay. That's normal. But for me, I haven't even had a pin drop of any bleeding since I had the surgery. I came home and you're able to shower the first day too. So after I took a shower, I put in a liner, like it's like second nature to do it at this point. Actually a pad, and It's nothing, 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 no bleeding. The bleeding stopping is enough to make me feel better. I feel like I swallowed a magic pill, like I just went into another matrix or something. I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy. I feel like I'm really healing really well. My incisions are healing really well. I just feel so much better. I feel so much better. I'm a little emotional because my therapist told me when I talked to her about this when, kind of first started happening, she said, be careful with getting used to suffering because you forget what it feels like to feel good. So it's not that we actually get used to suffering, but we can, if we're dealing with suffering and we're just trying our best to get through it and go through the motions and manage whatever is causing our suffering or whatever, we can forget in all of that energy that we expend to make things, just manage a situation, to just make it even livable. We can forget what it's like to have some freedom and to know what it's like to feel like I'm not suffering. And that has happened to me. I feel like I'm very emotional right now, and I have been over the past, I will say 5 to 6 days, like after I kind of started to really feel like, oh, wow, I am not bleeding. I feel good. Aside from the, like taking it easy because you've had a big abdominal surgery. So you're not out here twerking on your car. Well, I'm not. Maybe you can, but I'm not. I'm taking it slow. But even with kind of taking it slow, kind of walking slowly, being careful of my surroundings, even with those small considerations, I feel so great. And I really do feel like I had forgotten how it felt to not be suffering constantly, not to be constantly thinking about managing my symptoms. So I feel great. If you're watching this and you are considering the partial hysterectomy surgery or I think the other kind is radical where they take everything. I still have my ovaries because I'm only 40 and the doctor was concerned about taking my ovaries because I still need hormones for, as long as my ovaries will cooperate. I need those hormones. So, but regardless, if you've been dealing with this long-term bleeding and suffering and stuff, and you are afraid of the surgery, it's a big decision. It took me years to make. So it's okay if it takes you, some time to make the decision. But just know that when you're on the other side of it, you'll probably feel so much better. You will probably just be like, oh, wow, I really did forget how it felt to not be constantly suffering. So, all right, I think I've rambled on enough. I think I've definitely rambled on enough. Again, I hope the audio was okay. And if you have any questions about the surgery, really specific things, if you want to ask very personal things even, I am leaving my business email in the description box. Please email me. I would love to tell you whatever I know. I can only tell you from my experience, and I'm not a physician, but I was a very good patient, so I can tell you what has happened to me. And you can also leave a comment. Hopefully you'll leave a comment so other people can see it and I can reply and it can be public. But I'll answer those questions, and any questions that you may have, I can also include in the workbook that I'm writing. So I just feel so much better. I feel so good. I will see you in the next video. I'm off to, make the stuff I usually make, but this part of my life has been very important for me to share. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Take very good care of yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.